indeed. You heard that right. We basically got taken down. The previous show doesn't even exist, so it's a good thing we didn't have an interview or something. Really something else that the channel just continually fucking gets harassed, but what can you do? I'm going to mute myself. D, do the disclaimer.
What's going on, everybody? This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You have to be 21 and over to be here. If not, you have to get the flying flock out of here.
Thank you, D. Back to you guys. Hopefully this one doesn't get taken down. Every single show gets taken down now.
Whatever line.
Okay.
Yippee!
Smoking this caffeine and it makes your mind not think of anything. Just feel like so fluttered. Caffeine's alright. Alright, still.
Okay.
Oh, keep my.
Oh, okay. I was muted too.
Oh, shit.
I still can't hear anybody.
Testing.
I hear you, green fingers.
Okay.
What happened?
We can hear you, Cap.
Yeah, I hear Cap.
Frozen. There it is. Jesus Christ. Issues with my phone. It's so old. It's got to be like 7 years old now. I can't believe it still works. Kind of crazy.
There we go.
There's about 8 boxes worth about 2-3 grand worth of pottery. There's about here. The fuck is so kindly put away. Man. I was dreading this moment, going through here and seeing what the fuck. What I got it right on my list to get back. Fucking people.
Make sure they didn't change any seed banks that I have shopping carts on. Make sure my freaking seeds stay. I need to get these 2 last packs. 2 last packs.
Like true.
Some good breeding. Oh, good. Everything's still there. Good deal.
There, now I can hear you guys.
What?
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 Can't hear you.
So, Fumidor, just to let you know, I did send a DM and I did invite him to come on to the show anytime he feels that he's got some free time to hang out or something new to talk about, that he's excited to feel free to come on, and if he's got something big going
so for what
on.
it's worth, Captain 420, people never come on when you say like, oh, if you ever want to come on, like you actually have to say like, hey, come on sometime. You actually have to really.
Well, I kind of said that.
Anyway, for what I'm still pissed off about the fucking show constantly getting taken down. Like it's really something else. I'm looking at the policies here and I'm just like, we didn't violate any of this shit at all.
I'm just glad you're here tonight. Hear me?
What's that?
Restart the show.
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you, D.
Oh, I said I'm just glad you're here tonight so we can restart the show.
Oh, right on. Cheers.
Yeah.
buddy.
Cheers to that. I can't believe some of these people charge so much for the seeds. Ridiculous.
Well, what are you saying is a ridiculous price? Like 300-400
No, it's
or
250.
$100?
250 is too much, man. That's way too much. Way, way, way too much. I can't even look at that stuff. Anything above
Because
100.
I'm still on the 1 to 125, really, because you look at all the work, especially if you come out with something decent, how much work you have to put into that. You have 2 to 3 years, if not more, into some of these.
Yeah, I get it, because I still haven't came out with anything of my own stuff after 2 years, after a year and a half. Yeah. Takes its time. Got to do work. Some of
On average, I paid maybe 100, 125 a pack, over the
Yeah.
year as an average,
I
for,
look for
for
the sales.
femmes or regs.
Yeah, I only go for the sales when they have them. So like this is the only part of the year, Black Friday and Christmas is when there's really good sales, like 50% off and shit. So yeah, I got it. I guess the only time I could get any of these things. This is the only time I could get anything. Dang, all my lighters are on the ground, and I have a package right now. I can't even grab any of them. God.
Well, to tell you the truth, Robert, if you would take and only use one female, then all those seeds that you produce, you could actually use those instead of just doing an open pollination and having a broad spectrum of plants instead of, okay, I did this cross and this is going to turn out this way, hopefully, and this will turn out this way, and
I have that many crosses.
go into direction.
So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Many different crosses that I made this last round.
And how many males?
One.
Different males. Just
One
one.
male.
Okay. Well, there, dude, you just got the next year or 2 years worth of seeds.
I did that the run before too. So the run before I have double that. I have this box full. This probably has 15, and then the other one's got 15 as well.
Dude, you got 4 years, 5 years of seed runs there to go.
I know, but I got to run them out now. Now I got to run all these things.
And you don't need to buy anymore.
Yeah, that's why I said I was doing work. Like I actually got to do this. This is the only time I could actually succeed in anything that I've done because this is the only thing that I care about. It's the only thing that I really care about. So, yeah.
So yeah, man, you got 4 years worth of seeds there. You don't have to worry about nothing really. It's just you want them.
I want to be
You're
one step ahead
addicted.
of everybody still.
You're
I still want
addicted.
to. That's why I want to be the. I just want to be ahead. I want to be lapping people. I don't want to be behind. So, cheers, Christoph.
Good evening. My friends.
Cheers, Christoph.
Juice.
Take force, Christoph, more on me.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you. Idem.
That's like
Christoph.
after
What?
what?
Che pasta?
Maybe not. I just want to see. I'm looking for some books
Oh,
after that I had.
key.
So,
You know, one thing about reporting on the videos, it's all negative too. You can't report anything positive.
Yeah, really. Where's that? Where's that?
No, it's in the comment section. If you leave a comment and say, wonderful show tonight, Fumi and panel, that will boost everything in the algorithm. If you just leave a little couple word comment, because I hear about the guys that do coins and antiques that I listen to and sports cards. You know, they talk about it and they say, you know, hitting that like button is one
Yeah,
thing, but also leaving a comment helps us out
I think,
tremendously.
I bet. It seems like they're using AI more and more with comments
Fuck you.
Yeah,
to screen them and at
they've
least
always
screen
been doing
them,
that.
but even more than ever now, probably because
I
comments are off
I
the
think
chart.
they're just basically relying mostly on that. It's what our society has come to. The computers have replaced people. Bud was talking about it earlier when Smash
Yeah,
was
it's crazy.
talking about the airlines. You know, until COVID, you called up an airline, you got a person to talk to. COVID came around and they went back to work, and you can't get that person on the phone anymore to talk to.
No,
Mm.
and if you want to
Uh.
complain, that's when it can really matter.
Oh, the
Because my local
complaints have to
restaurant
be
is like
put
that
in by
also.
email.
They won't take phone orders anymore at my local restaurant. It's only they don't answer the phone. The phone just rings and rings and rings and rings, and
You
you just
have
have
to
to place an
order
order
over the app,
online.
right? Yeah, over
Yep.
an app.
And
It
it
used to
might
be able
pick
to
up,
call.
and it might pick up and it'll say, you didn't say the magic word. Uh, uh, uh.
Like some
What could be
places,
worse though is you're in Thailand and you call the hospital that you go to and you press 9 for English and no one ever picks up the phone. Ever. I tried calling that number probably 10 different times in 6 months and no one has ever picked it up. I'm going to say 10 days, multiple times each day, trying to get someone to pick it up before lunch,
yeah,
after lunch, everything I can think
that'll
of.
probably happen. Like with AI, some AI will pick it up.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of, you know, when you call American Airlines, you know, you tell them what your problem is, and then they give you a choice because it's AI of 4 different extensions you can connect to, but it misunderstood you and it's not sending you to where you want to go.
Well, and then
Yeah,
once they develop AI, it will be like hard to decipher between that and a real person. And then the way you
Yeah.
will be able to decipher is that person will be beyond courteous and accurate and quick, and it'll be, yeah, I imagine like,
won't get frustrated or angry.
oh, and if you want to do it through a video call, oh, you better see whoever this is
Mhm.
too, and it'll, yeah.
I, I did just see an article today about, I guess there's some kind of pornography AI software out there now where you can.
Well,
It sounded like
even when you guys were
you can
talking about
turn
this earlier,
a
I
person.
realized
It'll just like basically nudify the scene or something.
like I've had the same. I've been at B of A forever, right? I haven't gone inside the bank. Like, like no, the ready teller. Like there used to be limits and shit. Oh, there's not even limits, right? Like, well, I mean, I guess there is, but
What do
I
you
fit under.
mean?
It used to be you could only pull like $200 or something per day or some shit. Fuck, I pulled like thousands out of my fucking ready teller as long as you got it in the bank. I think it's like,
Well, it's also the limit that you have your card set at too.
yeah, all right. So whatever it is, I don't know. I used to have to go in the bank for this or that. Fuck, for whatever reason, I haven't needed to go in the bank inside. Uh, I stick to only going to like the B of A ready tellers because then the other ones charge a fee or whatever. But those things work fucking great. You don't need a teller, even checks, cash, whatever you want to deposit, they'll take that too.
I have friends that have businesses and the bank charges them to put money into their account.
I think my
When
account
did that come
has
up
like a
to
thing where
being a
if I
thing?
did go in the bank, I only have a limited amount of those per month, and then you'd have to pay. Like, oh, I have like a reduced bank thing. I've had that for a few years because yeah, I don't need to I don't need to deal with the bank. Now, when I used to have a
But
business, we needed to get
wait,
change and there were certain things you had to go in the bank for.
No, they don't even get change anymore. So most
but
stores,
wait a
a
second,
lot of
man.
stores,
I
big stores.
mean, you're putting your money in a bank, and for me to talk to somebody into an institution that I'm dumping money into, you're gonna charge me?
Oh, it's
Oh
crazy. No,
man.
it's crazy how it is. I don't even,
Wow.
yeah, no, I get it. But hey, so I don't become like a guy with a chip on my shoulder. I just like roll with it all. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do to change it? But yeah, the whole thing, the system, the way it's developed, the way we fucking live within it. Yeah, even
Yeah,
like yeah, I used to do a lot of things just with cash. Like cash is like useless. Like sometimes I always thought I needed a certain amount of money on me for whatever reason. Then sometimes I don't have any money. Recently, in the last couple of years, all of a sudden I realized, yeah, you don't. Some places that money, like especially out of all places, you figure entertainment
Concerts.
concerts. That's where you make sure you had a few hundred or whatever you needed in case you want to buy some. Nope, you can't spend your money. Not on the not parking, not on a drink, not on food, not on merchandise, not on anything. And
Eh,
and even I used to stay in the Bay Area, San Francisco hotels. I remember this was years ago. You can't you it has to be paid on a card. You can't
Yeah, with
you need a
it's a
card to
lot
return
easier
the
for
all
them to
that
deal with
shit.
that.
But you could like settle up with them with cash. Oh, nope, they don't accept cash.
I saw Amazon takes cash just now. Like you can place an order and something it says something like we'll hold your order for 48 hours. And I guess you can go somewhere and pay cash for that
Well, they
order and then they
probably
send
have
it.
like basically a ready teller system, just like you deposit at the bank and you put it in there and boom, it's on
Yeah.
your Amazon thing.
They work with a
He's
lot
no
of
dummy.
retailers.
Like,
Maybe
but
like CVS maybe.
the thing is, well, you probably look at his stats. Like 99.99% of everybody that buys shit on Amazon who uses the cash, like 0 point whatever percent, because everyone just buys on. Yeah, whether you like it or not, like it's just
Amazon is
become
crazy. We just take it for
right.
granted now. It really is amazing.
You could
You know,
go
that used to be the future that was lost in space.
all the way to like paying your
The
bills with
intergalactic
money.
department store.
You could go and pay all your bills with money order and not sign up for the automatic billing and all these conveniences. But yeah, that would be a pain in the ass.
yeah.
And mail it to them, pay 60 cents to mail it to them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, those
Yeah.
days.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Send a
I
check.
got my water bill the other day. I gotta find that.
I
I
remember
think it
paying those
63 baht.
and you would write a check and beyond the couple days you had with the mail, it would still take them a
It'd
couple
be so
days to cash
slow.
the check before it cleared. Like, so you could write a check and know you had like a couple days because it took that long to clear.
That world seems so slow nowadays.
Now, when like
You know,
you give
please
checks,
wait
like
6 to
sometimes
8
a
weeks.
person at the grocery store is still using a check. I've noticed, not that often, but that check is actually like run through there. Like it's not like it's old days. They take the money
Instant.
right then. They just punch it in as like basically a ready teller and take the money. It's not like, oh, you have any time for it to clear. That's not how that works.
Here in Thailand, I pay mainly by QR code through my bank account. And literally, when I hit the enter button, the screen within 10 seconds is popping up and showing the retailer that the money has been deposited into their account with their name on it and everything else.
Well, I noticed like I still use
It's
my card,
so easy here.
but in the last year or so, I noticed more and more people just flash their phone in front of things. I don't. I've never set that up, but seems to
No,
be more and more people do.
Yeah, that's
in
how
the
I pay.
States, yeah,
I just
but
started
I'm
learning to
still
do
gonna
legit
have money
swipe.
in the pocket.
Like I only started using swipe like a month ago. Like where you don't have to like put the card in the thing or through the
Tap.
reader. You just like swipe it in front of it. I just started doing that. And I like that.
Yeah. Well, to tell you the truth, I'd like being able just to pull out my phone and scan the person's uh, QR code and being able to pay it that way, or getting the person's bank account or their telephone number and being able to transfer money that way and pay for something in southern Thailand. And within 3 days, it's at my house, or 2 days, it's at my house. That's awesome. But they do limit you. Like I had to make the payment for my lights in 3 different days because you're only allowed to transfer like 45,000 baht at one time. So my 6 lights happen to be just over in the controller box, just happened to be like 96,000 baht. It ended up taking me 3 days to pay for it.
Yeah, those old credit card machines, those are something.
But I do have
Working
to
card.
say, the company that I dealt with, they did ship the lights out on the day of my first initial 45,000 baht deposit or payment. So that was pretty cool. They didn't wait the 3 extra days because there was a Sunday in there. So it would have been 4. Well, when you're counting on lights to get here and you've got plants and it's like, if it's going to take an extra 3 or 4 days, I need to run up to the store and buy some extra 80-watt LED fixtures.
Yeah. I missed what you said. So are those phones still alive?
No, they're all dead.
They all died. Wow.
I mean, I even went through and clipped the tips of them off. I took off the bad areas. The most of the clones were not more than 4 inches tall, 5 inches tall. Now the ones that he just put or that he put on that he was going to vent that he used my money to go to, all the clones in those pictures are all like 4 inches taller, 5 inches taller than the ones he sent me. That's why I'm saying I think I got all the runts. And because he went to these two events, he left all the really good clones and let them veg for an extra 7 to 10, 12 days to almost over 2 weeks extra on the last event. You know, why couldn't you just said, hey, listen, I think, you know, it'd be better if I wait like 12 or 14 days to send these out. Would that be a problem? And I'm not going to say, if you tell me, hey, listen, you know, they're rooted, but I think they need an extra 12 or 14 days. I'm going to tell you, okay, I'm still paying for them just in 12 or 14 days. Send them then. That would have been the way to handle it.
Right.
Instead
So
of the way
send you a picture of
that,
them even, you know, like, how do these
well,
look?
no,
Where I can wait. Do you need them right away? Or I can wait.
but you know, if you're sending out roots,
All
yeah,
this
it may
technology.
have roots inside the cube, but if you only see one on the outside, it's not rooted.
Yeah.
You have one root showing.
Sucks. So what are you gonna do?
There's
You guys
nothing
all
I can do. There's nothing I can do except post on IG and tell all you guys my experience with this person. That's
right.
it.
But you gotta get some more
Because,
clones or something.
well, I asked, well, I've got that all covered now.
I mean, maybe he can
Okay,
take care of you in the
but
future, but he's not.
the
There's
thing,
no way he's
well,
gonna have anything
am
for you
I,
now.
wait a second, am I going to do business with you after you treated me this way in the beginning? No, that ain't going to happen.
No.
But I asked if he could replace the two boxes that when I opened them up, they weren't attached properly and clones were bent and flipped over and out of the container all over the box.
Yeah,
I
but
asked for
he
him
was
to
all mad.
replace.
Yeah, no, I heard that part.
I asked him to replace those 60 some clones and not the other 100 and some that died, 140 that died.
But maybe in the future, like that's what, like in the future, you know, then you can still maybe get a good relationship because at least he did send you something, you know.
But
It
he's
doesn't sound like
me. He's
you're
ghosted
right.
me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe you tell him, you know, maybe he can help do something in the future.
I'm going to ask him one more time to replace
Like way in
the
the
two
future.
boxes, the two boxes that came fucked up. If he could replace those, because no matter if all the clones lived or not, those two boxes were fucked up and none of them were going to live to begin with.
But it sounds like he doesn't have product to send, so no matter what, he can't send them to you.
He went to two shows, and before the two shows that he went to, he showed clones that were 4 to 6 inches taller than the ones I just got.
Right. But I mean, but he
And the
sold those
roots,
presumably, you know? So
well,
presumably he doesn't have any more clones to send you, right? I mean, at this moment, so I'm just
he
saying,
could have taken them
see,
out of the ones that he had, though.
he could have, yeah. But he fucked up, and
Or
that's
he
what I'm
could
saying. You
say,
could probably
let
maybe
me.
able to save the relationship. Maybe just say,
No,
hey, I
there's
know you
no
don't have any.
saving it.
All right. So
You
you got to
either
get some clones though
replace
now. What are
those,
you gonna
you
do?
replace. I've gotten them from different places now. I went and found different avenues.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Good.
it's pushed me back. Basically, I lost 2.5 weeks. 2 weeks.
Right. I know that sucks.
You know,
Yeah.
but there
And the light guy got to you right away. You know, he was on point, and
and
you
my
could have been
soil
rocking.
got to me. right on time. You know, like I said, within 42 and 43 hours, all those clones were transplanted from the time he dropped them off at the shipping company. So, but no,
Think
that's
picking them up
just
is probably a good thing, and see the quality at the
well, the
time.
other ones are
Look at the
being
roots.
shipped, and they already
Yeah.
showed me the roots on them, and they're like Bud showed, big, thick, white roots, not like strands of hair.
Everything in Thailand's just getting going, though. It sounds like, you know.
This guy's from California, and when I mention his name, there's going to be a lot of people go, "Really?"
Even, yeah, I was thinking even worse. So he's
But,
definitely just
you
moved
know,
out to Thailand recently, you know.
he's been
Yeah.
here for over a year.
Yeah.
And he's had the same problem with the same foreigners from America that I've had a problem with, including one of our favorite people that was on here. So, but you know, I give everybody a chance to, you know, atone and make amends. And if you want to do that and be a straight, honest person, that's great. I will accept that. You know, I will accept that I lost 140 out of 200, you know, and we'll move on and nothing else will be ever said about it. But, you know, at least talk to me.
We're gonna eat that fish.
Even if it is to tell me go fuck off, you know, talk to me once.
Man,
Lose good.
all those dog seeds that popped died. Don't know if they were too old or if the leaf hoppers got to them. Hoping it was the leaf hoppers. If they're still gonna half a pack.
You know, the cocoa pots that I got, those are actually really awesome. But for starting seedlings, I still like using like the 20-ounce cup because I don't fill the cup fully up with dirt. I maybe put a third in and then put the seedling in. And as the seedling grows up, I pack dirt around my seedlings so they just don't fall over.
Huh.
But
That's pretty
for
cool. Yeah,
taking a
those-
rooted
they'll definitely
clone
stretch, you know, that's the problem I've kind of noticed. If you leave too much space,
Disgusting. Like, yeah.
just stretch real fast to get like out of the cup. But yeah, then
but
yeah, support it.
taking rooted clones and putting them into those cocoa pots, the fiber that they use are the big long strands of cocoa. So it's not like the chopped up shit. And these actually break down really quick. So instead of doing it all in plastic cups in the beginning, I went with these cocoa pots and they're going to work out perfectly because when I go to up pot them, all I have to do is set the pot
Captain, would you say that you're
into.
cuckoo for Cocoa Pots?
I am now. I am now.
Good one, Stevie.
And they degrade and they break down, so you won't have a problem if the roots don't push past them. It's yeah, I'm happy, I'm excited because I'm going to be able to take them, and instead of pulling it out of a plastic cup and dealing with all that shit, just put it right into the pot and go.
Literally crazy people.
And
Here you get
then I guess I'll be watching grass grow.
literally. I have to at the end of the show. Leave a comment at the end of the show. I'll tell Telescope in the comments below.
But yeah, I'm really happy with those Cocoa Pots. The guy trying to sell me the machine that makes them, that stamps them out. It's like 190,000 baht. So basically right around 6 grand. You know, that's a little bit out of my price range, considering for like 15,000 baht, I can literally buy the machine that's got a big hopper on the top, and it's got one, you can get, it's a little more expensive. It's got a digital readout, but it's an automatic pot filler. You know, I'd rather go spend the 15,000 baht on the, pot filler.
Serious. But they'll have more and more
Especially-
equipment in the future. The whole industry is going to boom with like just the whole types of products that are available.
Well,
Doing
in the
different
agricultural
things.
market, they've had things that we could have used, 25, 30 years ago. It's just when you go to buy these types of machines, 25 years ago, we really weren't into that. Why you need to fill all these pots? None of your fucking business, but
The agriculture side, the processing side also.
I think it's just, the age that we live in, that we're having access to all these new portals of being able to get such equipment, where before we heard about it, but we didn't know how to go about looking it up or finding out about it. And now 15, 20 years later, it's all at our fingertips. And instead of being, back then $250,000, it's now 110,000.
Yeah. And then, hopefully some, affordable things too. I mean, really, a lot of it is a lot of the engineers and manufacturers have to communicate with the smokers and see what the needs are, kind of see what they do. How, what are they doing? Oh, we can make them some. Why don't they do this? And then new products will come on the market. They'll have new ways, like totally new ways of doing things.
Well, the light
The dabbing
company,
market's totally,
a playback.
seems to be a booming kind of product market.
the lighting company that I'm using right now, we're actually talking about them giving me a little bit better discount on my lights. But, their engineer called me up and asked me the reason for the 730s to be on a separate, a line that I can put on a separate timer.
Yeah.
And, their engineers called me up and I explained why. And he goes, oh, okay. So, they're wanting to learn too, to help
Yeah,
us. They
definitely.
want to put out a better product, and we're looking for a better
And then the
product.
Chinese engineers want to find out, like, oh, why are we building this stuff? What's this being used for? We could do this, make it like
Hey,
really
Hey,
tenth of
your
the
spark,
cost.
all your lights are basically coming from China. You have to understand that, period. I actually buy mine through a Thai company, and they've been in the LED light business for over 15 years here in Thailand. So I went with them because of their service. Like I said, the engineer called me up. So I'm getting service like that from this company. So we're going to hopefully see how these run. They're 1,000
That must be a
watt,
good markup
and
with LEDs,
they're
LED
on
lights.
they're on 1.4 meter bars. So they're on like 4.5 foot bars. Or yeah.
So they're just like the
So
thin. So not even like the heavy, like HLG used to have a big heavy slab of aluminum they mount everything to.
no, these are just
Yeah,
bars.
these are.
And the diodes at the end, because they say that they can cover a 4x8 area. And I asked, or 4x6 area, and I asked them about that. And I guess the diodes near the end of the panels are turned at 120 degrees. So they go out, which is exactly kind of what we need. So what that kind of already tells me is we could add one bar to each end and then tilt those out a little bit farther and still staying in the same bar length, but adding an extra row of plants or 2 rows of plants, depending on how high your lights are and your growth style is, to every harvest. So if you're adding an extra 8 plants, that's an extra 8 to 16 ounces in your same harvest. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about this, but I've also thought about buying some $22 315s too, because that's how much they cost me here. And that includes a bulb. Both of my bedrooms right now have brand new 4 plugs where I actually have some place to put 4 plugs in a wall, because most of them are 1 or 2. The one in my bedroom is a 1. You can only plug one thing in, so it's a power strip.
we have two. Most houses here in Ontario are 2 plugs, but it also requires a strip for me.
Yeah.
Not enough.
So when I do move out of this house in July, I'll be able to take the boxes right off the wall and all the wiring out of the house. I'll be able to take the circuit breakers out and reinsert the lower amp circuit breakers
That's
because
awesome.
that was all that I needed to do was put in different circuit breakers instead of replacing the whole panel, which would have cost me a couple $100 here in Thailand. The city electric inspector came out from the electric company in the city, and he looked at the plants on the floor as these guys are running, 4,000 extra watts to each room.
Yeah.
That was kind of different, and the guy didn't even really. He looked at the plants one time, kind of smiled, and went about his business about checking the electrician's work.
Right on.
So I had two guys here doing my electric all day, and it cost me $150.
Holy fuck.
So that's $75 a day. That was less than $10 an hour.
Hold on. That's crazy, dude. That's cheap.
Yeah. And
Holy
these guys
shit.
were professional.
Wow.
And the switch to the electric heater, water heater in my bathroom is actually now outside of the bathroom and not an open switch inside the shower itself.
Oh yeah. That's good. Holy shit.
So
We don't
yeah,
we don't need no
I
Troy Captain.
well,
That
when it comes to electricity and running wires like that, especially back in the States where the houses are made out of wood, I can rewire like Bud. I can rewire an HBS ballast. I can put in a new starter, igniter, everything. But when it comes to possibly burning my house down because I didn't do something exactly proper,
Yep.
then yeah, go hire the people that know more than you.
Yep. I get
Every,
my
every,
uncle.
every good business owner
Yeah.
will tell you that, hey, listen, I didn't know accounting, so I got this person as a partner. I didn't know law, so my other partner is a lawyer.
Electricity is one of those things that's you don't have a feel for it, a natural feel for it. A lot of people, it's kind of
Well,
mysterious.
also,
It's not
when you
something
hire
you're working with
somebody
wood.
that's a
Someone who
professional,
normally does a lot of stuff around their house and takes care of everything because they just
yeah,
understand physical stuff. Yeah,
but
electricity is like, oh yeah, they know
a
nothing else for that.
handyman isn't bonded and licensed. So if your house does burn down because the new wiring that was put in improperly caught the house on fire, it's his insurance that pays for it.
Yeah.
Because that's his profession. He pays
Get
to
good
be in
insurance,
that
everybody.
profession.
Insurance is good. Worth
Yeah,
having good
tell my
insurance.
daughter that. She kept on saying, well, I was going to send the check in. I was going to send the check in for my car insurance. And I said, well, your car insurance had expired. So that means that they let you slide for a couple weeks and you should have sent the check in because now the new car that you bought is totaled by the tree limb that fell on it. So my daughter found out the hard way about letting like car insurance lapse
Yeah,
and
it's hard
having a
too.
tree branch fall on her car
I know
and
from
losing
house insurance.
$13,000.
Yeah. No, I just had 2 house insurance claims that I went through recently over the past like 3 years, really, because one of them took more than a year, maybe a year and a half, even. But wound up basically redoing my kitchen, and even more than just my kitchen, from just from a leak,
There it is.
from a leaky dishwasher. And then
Oh,
I had to
yeah.
redo the whole kitchen, like because because it's a wooden floor that buckled. So they'll just have to replace a few square feet. So it really was because of asbestos underneath the wood and some tile or linoleum that was there underneath the wood floor that they found, and the code very strict here in Denver area. I think all of Colorado is basically the codes for.
And all they did was
They had to
put
take up the whole
3/4 inch
floor.
hardwood.
Oh man, they take up the whole floor and it went underneath the center
Yeah.
island and like, oh man, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, so
When we
expensive.
went to sell
And the
my
wooden floor,
grandparents' house,
like extended along to across room to room basically. So it was like, oh, we got to resurface anyway the whole wooden floor that's continuous. So
when we
basically, we're
went
gonna
to
do even, but we had to
sell,
stop. We had to say no, not into the other rooms, like not those rooms. We didn't want to have to move stuff out of like bedrooms and stuff. The living room was big enough.
you got lucky when we went
and
to
the
sell
dining
my
room, like it was
grandparents'
just
house.
crazy.
They had asbestos put down. They had it underneath like carpeting and stuff like that. And then the flooring that was put down had asbestos underneath that. So the bedrooms were hardwood, but the bathrooms and the living room and the kitchen had to be torn up. The basement floor had to be torn up
Well,
because
if they
it
had good
had tile
insurance,
with the
it turns out
asbestos.
it's a hassle, but it turns out that at least for us, it's great in the end.
Yeah, well,
Hassle.
you had a other issue that caused you to find that, and ours was you have to remove it before you can sell the house.
Oh yeah. No, this is
Yeah.
something the state says, like, yeah, if you do find it, or if a contractor finds it that's working on your house, yeah, then it all has to come out. Like
Yep.
all the asbestos that's continuous from that area.
And my grandfather built his house. But yeah.
Hey, Christoph, how's it going over there? I just seen you here. Christoph, how's it
You're
going?
muted, Christoph.
Tell us all about it.
J'ai pas. Sorry, Bud. No comprendo, mi. J'ai pas compris. No comprendo.
Yeah, no comprendo.
Jeff, il parle français, le Jeff.
I don't know. How's your show going?
That's right.
Do you have your show? Your
I realized for as long as Christoph
the
has
channel.
been coming on the show, I could have easily bought an online French class or one of these things and learned how to speak French. But I didn't. Or at least know enough to basically talk a little.
After a couple years, yeah, you would think.
Well, I hear these ads. I guess there's these, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, like app type language things that claim to teach you quick. Maybe it's true.
Yeah, the problem I'm running into right now is because I'm starting to talk to a lot more local farmers, is there's like 5 different dialects of Thai in Thailand from the south to the north. And the Thai that I started to learn was Bangkok Thai. And here they speak Northern Thai, which is different. And
Now,
then when some of these farmers I go to,
that's like
they
the
talk
difference between
Aka.
you're not talking like the difference in America where like New Yorkers and Philly and Boston and Southern people, they
No,
speak
it's a
the same
totally
language,
different
but they
word.
have like an accent.
Yeah,
It's a totally different language.
It's a different word. It's pronounced differently. It's spoken differently.
Well, there's a lot of that
So,
in English. There's some of that in English. When a few people that sort of knew English were around me, I realized trying to communicate, I had to try to not use slang.
yeah.
They weren't able to. The slang is what messed them up.
It
And
also,
And
you don't realize
sir,
how much slang you have until you're trying not to use it.
and there's a couple words that we say all the time when we talk that don't translate to anything in Thai. So it's easier just to drop using those words, even when I'm speaking English to a Thai person, because that word just doesn't translate. So why even say it? It's going to confuse them if they have a little bit of an understanding of what you're trying to say to begin with. So if you remove those
I
words
only
that
speak
just don't
English.
translate, then it's a
I
little bit
wish
easier.
I like learned a language. I do, but the people I know that speak multiple languages, whether they are or not, I always think, wow, they're smart because
Yeah.
yeah, that's not easy. That's hard to do. Like my girlfriend, she's from the Philippines. She speaks Philippines, and in there's two different
Tonga.
Filipino, right? And
The
then
Tonga.
she doesn't think perfect English, but pretty good perfect English. And then because she's been in Abu Dhabi for the last 14 years, yeah, she knows that stuff too. Europe, I guess, or whatever.
Arabic.
It must be
But
some
even
form of
in her
Arabic.
job, which she's like management level of a 5-star hotel, um, there's people of all nationalities work there. Even though no one really polices it that hard, but it's like a rule in the company that spoken language is English. They're not supposed like at work. You're only supposed to talk in English. A lot of that is different parts of jobs are held by different nationalities, and even within her job in management, there's like the Filipinos that look out for each other, and the people from India that are looking out for each other, and a little bit of conflict there, and yeah, they're not allowed to speak their language. They have to speak English at work, which I
Yeah,
thought was
that's that's a little bullshit.
I tell you what, she's done pretty good for herself, because if she doesn't speak English that well, coming from the Philippines, that means that, she
she
didn't
doesn't
have
think she
a
speaks English well.
really,
She speaks perfect English. Like she just doubts herself, but no, she can speak English. Yeah. But slangs, yeah,
no,
you have to
slang.
explain that. And a lot of people, yeah, a lot of us, like even cannabis stuff. How much slang is in our
Oh,
conversation?
just in this community, right?
Like even non-stoners, like probably
year
have
to
no
year.
idea when they hear two stoners talking about whatever strains and ways of smoking and products and all this.
I am so glad for the internet and YouTube and being able to come on shows like this and talking with everybody and learning these new agricultural terms, because here in Thailand, you know, we have slang for cannabis back in the States and ways of growing and stuff like that, where here you need to talk agricultural talk, you know, because that's what they're going to understand. They don't understand what the way we talk about growing cannabis in the United
And even
States.
in
It's
the
got to be
United
from an
States,
agricultural side here.
in the last so many years, we're moving more and more to where like as far as cultivation of cannabis goes, we're starting to talk in more agriculture verbiage than the slang.
Correct.
Or there's at least where we have a choice, like even the thing between indica and sativa, and I get all the different meanings of the word and the history, and maybe it isn't the approach, but my whole life, that's how we deciphered like the difference between this type of weed and that type of weed. And even though I guess you could say fat leaf and thin leaf, okay, I'll still always refer to it as that because it's been like 45 years of that. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess if it was really important, life or death, I could change. But people that know me and the people I communicate with, that's the term they use too. Like if I all of a sudden start saying, "Oh yeah, don't say that with fat leaf," and like, nah, leave it alone. The next generation, they can say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, I've known it as narrow leaf dominant, whatever.
You know that some people are trying to correct, and I get that. If you were in, what do you call it, academics and more on the side, and you were making educational content on cannabis that, you hope has longevity, I guess, using the right terms would be the proper thing to do. But out here in the streets, yeah.
Yeah, fat leaf and thin leaf, really, that's not perfect either. That's just, a
Yeah,
descriptor.
I mean,
It's good.
I get the argument, like, because one, like indica, as much as I've always thought indica, Hindu, Kush, Afghanistan, weed,
It's one
the word indica
characteristic.
means a product of India. That's its definition in Webster's. That's not up for dispute. And if it's a product of India, well, weed of India has been sativa, indica, and everything in between. So,
Yeah.
it was just I don't know. I don't know really how the origin of our verbiage started.
Like long flowering thin leaf,
Yeah.
or short flowering fat. Then at least, like you were saying, how long to keep a plant. Well, if you see that it's got thin leaves, well then maybe, okay, I'm going to keep this one longer and expect it to go longer.
And I mean, other than if you really are on the edges, at this point, it's not even that we have indicas or sativas. We have hybrids, and like 99% of the weed that's talked about, sold, grown, bred, popular, hype, whatever, it's all hybrids at this point.
Yeah, so many now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
I
all
can
good
see
for
what
that.
I can see what I agree with, like what you were saying about just going for like
Well,
the older parent
10,
strains.
10, 12 years ago when I competed in high times cups, which had some legitimacy to them, there was 3 categories of flower: sativa,
Yeah,
hybrid, and indica. Now,
pretty much the
there were
same as
always
today.
people, and every year I forget the drama and who and what, but there were certain people that would say so and so entered like a hybrid into sativa. That isn't fair. That that's not really, today, if you tried to do categories like that at an event, it would be pointless. It's like it's all hybrids at this point. I guess you could have a few outliers. Maybe there are like
There's a
not
few.
isn't some sativa growers. Uh, I don't know. Is there? It's weird. The sativa growers outnumber the pure indica growers, right? There's more of a movement for the long flowering sativa type of
Not me.
plant and the high and everything that goes with that. Then there is of like the super pure indicas, the pure kushes, and those kind of varieties. No,
And that's where Thailand's at right now. They want their narcoticized. They've had the really high THCs. Now they want the narcoticized.
not that I don't appreciate a good sativa and all, but I've already got back when I'm an indica loving guy. I like those like
Me.
yeah, I like that kind of weed better. There's like, it's sort of pointless to talk about that now because like I say, all the weed we're all smoking and it's hot right now. Those are all just like so hybrid that it's not.
Yeah,
They're
but
good. There'd only be one category, hybrid.
yeah, well, it should be, but it's not. But if it was, it would be like narrow leaf dominant, whatever. Like you'd still call it something more dominant than the other,
Well,
because like everything is still dominant.
No.
And the one thing I
50-50.
realized in humanity is like
It's just
certain
50-50,
fads, as ridiculous as they were, like come back.
We all need to
Okay.
learn a lot more about it. It's the terpenes and everything.
Yeah. So I
Styles, the
don't know
esters, the fucking
if the
what you ate
if the world is
yesterday.
ready for it
Yeah, the
now,
chemovar
but
instead
there'll
of
be a
the
time
peanut.
when like sativa is like back in full force. It'll be popular. It'll be the thing. Just like bell bottoms come back every 30, 40 years. Right?
Yeah.
With the boots with
It
the
does
little
cycle around.
Fashion.
Maybe categories on
fashion,
taste,
a
like
lot of things
like
go
a
through those trends in humanity where they become a fad and then it dies off and then they come back like 20, 30 years later.
maybe like having fruits and floral categories instead of sativa and indica, gas and funk and other.
Well, I think if
or
the
something. or
if
new.
if the
If you
real
feel you have a new flavor.
consumer, the cannabis consumer that obviously spends billions of dollars on cannabis at legal stores across the country, if they really had the like fair, like could choose, had a real smorgasbord of it all, yeah, and even if it did cost more, because right now most of those customers are chasing flavor of the week, but actually, like most people smoke weed for effect. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of sativa effect, I like indica. Oh, I know that the sativa has like the soaring effect, the best effect, the incomparable effects are found in those weeds.
It has to be strong though for people like us though that have such a high tolerance. Like it has to be a good like sour diesel or a headband or
But you
German
just
poison.
said stronger, but it's actually less THC in the plants that
Nice, Crypto.
that more heavier narcotic is
Wow.
than a 32%
Hey, bro.
strength. It's going to be more like 18%. And what we're getting is the rest of what makes up what used to be called the entourage effect. You're getting more of that in the plant because the plant can only hold 42 or 43% cannabinoids. So if you're using up 32 or 34% of that in THC, you're limiting the rest of the plant. And I think when you limit the rest of the plant, at least for me, it limits the longevity of the high and the type of high that I get, whether it be a cerebral body high or a couch lock body high where I just don't want to do anything. I've lost all motivation. And I think that comes from the rest of the plant. That's why they'll never be able to really replicate cannabis in a laboratory the way we like it.
Hallelujah.
You know, they can get
as it should be.
They get that, you know, they can get the components together, but they're going to be missing something in there.
Yeah, we know that, but I mean, like cigarettes, you know, like they'll try to homogenize it,
Well, yeah,
deconstruct it and reconstruct it.
you
Well,
know,
I mean, I think
we're
it
like
boils down
craft
to
beer people.
what the entourage effect basically means. There's like, I don't know about infinite, but there is a lot of variables, even from person to person. The fact it's not something that is easily like recreated. Like there's so many variables that, yeah, as far as synthetically, like going, yep, yeah, I don't think that they'll be able to do that on this one. Maybe, but you know,
They'll get
like,
close. They'll get close.
right, you know, they can punch in a lot of variables too, but at a certain point, there might be too many variables.
Shit.
And it may be
Yeah.
that one variable that actually unlocks all these others from working together to achieve what that plant is actually special for. So, yeah,
Yeah.
keep overgrowing.
I can see a dollar store in the cannabis industry. That could be like a niche that some company will eventually take over and the discount cannabis market.
Well, that's 30 baht. And some of the popcorn I can buy for 10 baht a gram. So, yeah, I could see making a profit off that.
Yeah, it may not be a dollar, but you know,
Well,
it's
even
really
like
cheap
that, I
bud
don't know
and
if you have
concentrate.
this grocery around you, or you probably have something like there's it's fairly new. It's not been around forever here, but it's called Grocery Outlet, I think, right? But what their real model is they sell they source stuff like, oh, it's not quite the expiration date, but it's close, and it's like overages that whatever companies have, right? And that's how they can give you these low
Aldi's.
prices off, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be like there'll be a cannabis place like that because, like, as we see, there's like, well, 1 year is in California from the time it's packaged, it has to be sold within a year. That's already a thing. So, like, when companies or product gets like close to there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
oh, there'll be some like outlet for it, just like basically Nordstrom's, all those outlet mall, right? Where a lot of that stuff is overages or shit that's been returned or whatever the fuck, and then they sell it cheaper, you know?
Saw that. Yeah.
And yeah, eventually, once we get to a certain point in those outlet mall uh, uh, store areas, which are always like, out in the middle of nowhere, sort of. Yeah, there'll be a cannabis store in there, and they're selling
Yeah.
all the shit that's like, um, you know,
And
the
the outlet
overage.
shops. Yeah.
Because at this point, that there is these overages, but they sell that like part of the whole metric thing is keeping
Yeah, the
track of
cookies.
sells through.
Cookies
If things
outlet
don't
store.
sell through, well, who eats that? You know what I mean?
They'll have their clothing line also selling out there in the outlet stores also.
I've gotten 3 shops here now that when something sits in the shop for more than a month and a half, they discount it and move it out. They don't buy, they only buy the fresh stuff that comes in. And if it sits too long, they move it out. Instead of buying 100 grams at a time, they're only buying 20 or 30. But they're also getting a lot more growers that are coming in with smaller batches too.
But I'm sure. I mean, the interesting part of Thailand to me, if I was there, would be to see how a country that went from basically almost zero a year and a half
To
ago,
100.
and how the community, how it matures, like how it develops and matures, especially when it's left. Seems like, oh, it's not a lot of overregulation and overtax and all these other things that happen here.
Zero tax.
It's just like let the market naturally speak and the growers in the market figure out how to make it work. Where here, yeah, it became investment money and all this other crap and levels of complication that who the fuck knows really. Like at this point, if it's what do you call those kind of people that invest in oh, there's a term for it. But even them are the type that invest in like 5 things and use one of those things. It's okay that 1 or 2 of them lose.
Angels.
What are they? They're mutual fund guys, or there's different levels of investment strategy. But like they're okay with like losing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, best way to beat out your competition is, you know, create that
Lower prices.
environment where, oh, well, we got a bunch of investment money and we can withstand it, but you can't. So see you later. Like it, you know, the way to create dominance is just to like destroy the competition, you know, through basically I think it's referred to as the Amazon model because that guy lost money for like a decade, billions of it. But then it all came back in right? Now that other people use that type of strategy in other business, marijuana included, where the big mamma jamma comes in and oh, they got billions invested so they can lose money for 5 years to thin out the herd.
Yep, that's what they've been doing in Michigan. Ohio just kind of leapfrogged that a little bit. They took away the 12 plant per household, I guess, and replaced it with 6. They just recently voted
like,
on all this.
You know, our country, I mean, this has been done across the board in all these other businesses. But what used to be kind of a safeguard against that was like what they call that law, like antitrust and not right, like
Monopoly.
yeah. But we no longer live in that environment. All like rules of engagement are fair game at this point. It's in the sake of money, right? And yeah, we've seen what that's done. Like, wait, if there's no small businesses and mom and pops, what you call hardware stores, dry clean, all the things that there were small businesses, most of those have been lost to this new way of business. Why do you think cannabis is going to like survive? not be that. Even hydro stores, like brick and mortars are done. Like other stores sold stuff and had to close up because, online business, Home Depot,
Yeah.
whatever, all the different things that happen. Cannabis is not going to be immune from those threats. Like as soon as someone can deliver it, like someone like Amazon can have a national punch it in and it's at your door prime, like as quick as humanly possible. Well, there it is. Game over.
Yeah. Exactly.
As far as like the percentage of people that are going to say, yeah, that's, and he'll have the leverage with all the brands to buy them and they'll agree to deals that aren't even beneficiary to
Fair.
themselves. And,
If these companies ever got their act together and actually were good, there's a huge market out there just waiting for them. It's us. They just have to have some. If they had something that was so good that enticed, I mean, we'd be spending a lot of money on something that was really great. I can't, I can't imagine it. I mean, not even just bud, but other kind of concentrates or some other kind of
well,
products.
that's the other thing that the entourage effect creates. It's not like other products that once you hone it down to a certain level, you can just recreate it. And like, even if you manufacture in different places, Coke is pretty much the same, Doritos is pretty much the same, all these products. Cannabis, well, you might have a great batch, you might have a decent batch, like even with all the SOPs. That's why that side concentrates on this SOP thing so hard, because even if
Yeah.
it's ultimately, if they settle on, well, we can't always produce the best, but we can consistently produce this.
Yeah, standard.
Yeah.
No deciding to do that, because the worst kind of brand would be, well, yeah, their last batch was killer. This batch sucks. Maybe next batch will be better. And that you can't build brands off of that. You have to have
But
whatever it
all
is,
these
be
all
consistent.
these
have
markets,
time after time.
Trying to reach top shelf dankdom is my experience. Yeah, I don't know. Like, hey, nothing changed from that one to this one, but they didn't come out as good, or that's just part of it. You thrive to do the best you can, but it's like, and the better and the more finicky the actual strain is, the harder it is to bring it in at that top level consistently. And I think what commercial are going through is like, yeah, they're settling on things. Yeah, they can't afford to have like ups and downs.
Failure.
So if there's things that are right in the middle, well, let's stick to that and let's produce a lot of that. And if we have to spend money on advertising, PR, hype to get those things out, but we don't want to grow risky strains. A lot of the best weed is risky. Like that's just my experience. It's not bulletproof. There some pretty good strains are bulletproof. Fuck them up, but a lot of the really fucking sour diesel and fucking OG and a whole bunch of
They're
them.
finicky.
Yeah,
yeah.
even with like I don't have like set SOPs, but I do have like steady environment for a lot of years, like as far as temperature, humidity, light, this, that. Yeah. But especially, it's not always that the batch didn't come out as fire weed, but it didn't hit the yield numbers that the one before hit. Like that's a lot of like as a grower, you're always having to balance that too.
And, that's always going to change on your environment. Like, my opinion, my best harvest in Ohio were the harvests that came late December, January, February, March, and into April. But once it really started to change from that cold weather to the fluctuating weather and into the summer, that's when my gardens went downhill. So I took that time of my gardens going downhill in the summertime to not really produce flower, but to produce seeds during that time. Because producing seeds, I wasn't worried about getting weight. I was worried about getting good seeds. So those plants didn't need to be under 1,000 watt. I could knock it down to a 400 watt and still achieve what I needed, which saved me electricity costs in the house from cooling the house or my rooms to running all the lights all the time. Now in the wintertime, yeah, run all those HBSs because it heated up my floor, my basement. It heated my house. But you know, my winter harvests were always the best.
I just used air movement, and my best crops were always in the winter time, and the yield would be lower a little, the metabolic rate would slow down, but they were the crustiest, gnarliest batches would come in the winter, the heady stuff. The yield would go up when it warmed back up, but not the quality of bud. Cold nights. I ran at night, but yeah, I would have the lights
watch humidity.
More like at 4 a.m. And then they would still be cold when the lights went off, because if I ran like 9 to 9, by the time 9 came around, the outside air was daytime already warming up. So I had a schedule where at least in my mind, I thought, yeah, because it was pulling whatever temperature air from outside through the room. So the lights would go off in the morning for they at least have like a diff, like yeah. And when my house was cold, I would just open the grow room doors and let that air warm up the house. Yeah. Now in the summertime, you used to have to I'd unplug a certain lights for a few hours and then unplug other lights and plug those ones in because it was too hot, even at night. Like it was too hot. Like moving air, like 15 to, it's like a weird thing. When it gets warmer, it's harder to cool it. But yeah, like 15 to 20 degrees, it would add to whatever temperature it was outside. If it was 70 and you had your lights on, it would be 85.
And with LEDs, hey, 85 is what they tell you your temperature should be.
Well, sometimes it would cool off cooler later in the night, but once it got to a certain temperature, it couldn't cool itself. So even then, on hot nights, it was only periodically. I would turn off the lights like 15 minutes and let the air cool down, and then when I turn it on, it would stay cooler. But once it got to it was like a weird threshold with heat. Like once it got to a certain heat, it couldn't cool it itself. Even though the air outside at midnight, 1 in the morning got way colder. That was something I remember too. But I've been sealed rooms for 10, 12 years. So it doesn't really matter what happens outside. I mean, it does in usage, but no, my data thing is pretty steady no matter what.
here in Thailand, you walk into a lot of these grow rooms that they have in facilities, and there's so much space in between the plants. And the indoor facilities, a lot of them have cement, well, all of them have cement and tile floors. Well, that just creates more heat. And, I'm trying, I was, they thought I was crazy the other day when I got excited about the plastic bags being square until they realized that my growing technique style is if I see light on the floor, I'm losing money. So my plants all get kind of smashed together. So, you know,
Yeah, but here's my experience on 4x8 trays. Yeah, I run rows of 3. Sometimes if plants are certain size, I'll go down to 15. Sometimes 18 is my normal. 18 rows of 3x6, 9 under each light, basically under 4x4. It'll fill in. Yeah, even if there's light for a day or two, won't be in a couple more days. Whatever empty space, the plant will find.
Yeah.
Only one more thing.
Sometimes over the years, I remember putting on 21, 24, and pruning them a certain way. And no, the yield, like if I crowded it, I got less yield than I did when I gave them X. And even in my veg, I had a staging tray. So the week before they would get turned back, because in veg I'd keep things tighter, but that wouldn't create the best growth sometimes if things were crowded. But the last week before they got turned back, there was a tray in the veg room that they'd get set in the 18 grid and let them already spread out to that spacing, and that worked good for me. Like, yeah, I
yeah.
think yield went down when I overcrowded. That's what I found.
Well, it also depends, especially today, what type of strain you're growing too. You know,
Like even in this defoliation, it's not full Swayze or nothing like that. I'm very like I leave a few sun leaves here and there, but there was no. It was everything underneath from the top down was shaded. But then when I'm done, oh no, light will go all the way through. If light isn't going, if it isn't in light, then there's no reason to grow it, right? But in another week, it won't even look like I did that. Like it'll need to be defoliated again almost. It's crazy when you take all those leaves off. What do you think the plant does? Puts a bunch back on.
the plants that I've been taking care of out in front of the cafe, uh, every 2 days, 3 days, pulling leaves off. And just like you said, you pull off the bigger leaves, and 5 days later, they're back.
Well, we could clean them up as when we turn them back, but we found that by leaving these big panel leaves at that
Where the
stage,
nutrients are.
and then those 2 weeks, yeah, that's like important for them to blow up, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, these plants or whatever they are now, when we set them just over 2.5 weeks ago, they were just, maybe a foot and a half tall. Some they've been topped and femmed, and even as we turned them back, we topped some, femmed some, do different things to different ones, and just like always, boom, by 1 week, they were already above the trellis. And now some of them are actually, I'm like bending, I'm like squeezing the stock and twisting it down to make them any taller. They shouldn't be getting any taller, but yeah, some. And they were all, hey, the night we set it looked very even. But some plants somehow from the same clone, whatever, decide they're going to get 6 inches taller or whatever, whether it's on the side, middle. A lot of times it's whatever has the best conditions is going to somehow get bigger. Because I think in some ways they're fighting for space and trying to dominate. Like that's just like in life, that's life, whatever form it takes. But whether you're a microbe or a human, you're like your whole existence is like, yeah, to get as much as you can.
Exactly.
That would mean to dominate the plant next to you, you know? Because sometimes there's weird plants that, yeah, they didn't show any sign, but next thing you know, after a week, you realize, wait, what happened? You can't see it in the canopy, but you look close, it got starved out, meaning what you actually see is these plants around it just took its fucking space over and said, fuck you, you're not strong enough to survive. It doesn't happen that much, but it happens sometimes where you're like, fuck, there was nothing wrong with that plant. It was just as healthy as the other one. But like during the 2 week transition, it got starved out.
Yeah.
Especially if you're overcrowded. That's just my experience. And it's all strain dependent too.
And how tall you
variables and back, like there's so many that it's not like whatever one person does, another. It's all their own environment, their own mythology, their own like. That's what's beautiful about this. That like
different parameters everybody grows in.
You know, the internet or seems to create a thing where somebody wants to like say, well, no, my way is better than everyone else's way. Do it my way.
My way, the highway.
Yeah, I pick up great things from almost everyone, but like I kind of think, yeah, do it your way, your own way. That's the only way.
Take little pieces from other people that have been growing to help you. That's what I've learned. I've got my way of growing, but even coming and seeing how Bud did it, that's when I seen the light movers with the double endeds on them. And I'm like, bingo, there you go.
That was when we first, like, that was like the first crop where we were like, did these numbers and we're like, holy shit, it yielded more. How did that happen? That's not like Dr. Bugsby, the light PhD, would say, that's not possible. I mean, physics would say it's not possible, right? But then again, like, oh no, we bent the curve a little. Hey, it's not like I've been like, oh, we got a secret. I've told a bunch of people. I don't know anybody else that's like said, oh, I'll prove that out. But oh, it's a couple. It's that you saw your first trip here, huh, Captain? That was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. We stopped keeping the numbers. It's the way it is, and there's a couple little edge spots. There's a little, but it all works out. You have to. These are parameters you have to balance in this new modern world.
Believe me, I'm learning all new parameters. But I tell you what, man, the when you have a healthy plant here, she just grows and grows and grows, and the leaves just pile and pile and pile on.
I imagine when people really, now that they have the freedom to start to master the outdoor, the inputs, the soil, the sun, the weather, in certain areas of the country that become just like here. There's certain areas for outdoor that are superior than other areas, right? Yeah, I think probably some people will start producing some of the best weed, like outdoor weed in the world.
And that was one of the things that I was going to comment on that you brought up again is, Thailand, up until we got medical, no one talked about cannabis, or you never got invited to see anybody's garden. And then when medical came, people talked about it, but still didn't show any gardens. And then when I got back after it got legalized, and everybody wants to show me their garden now and talk about it.
Like the first 10 years, I knew at least 10 years, I was grow. Me and Scott, Chris, that's all we did, grow, indoor. We knew nothing. We knew better. Like even the one guy that at the hydro store, we sort of became friends with him, the owner, this older guy that knew about hydroponics, tomato growing, all these other things. He told us certain things that but everything we learned was through trial and error, and a lot of errors, a lot of and then certain things were like, oh, even looking back, we had this one spot that was like, right, the windows were backed up against a busy freeway in LA, the 405, right on this on ramp where, beyond the fact that the on ramp people were selling, and we had this simple couple light setup there. We had a couple other places, just move air. We didn't know why. I only know why now from everything I've learned. This is going on 30 some years ago, but we'd grow weed there that was so much better. The same strain, same everything than our other spots. So much better. We were like, holy shit, this place is fucking the best. We never even knew anything about this. This was like in 1990 something. Well, cars, what do you think cars put out? CO2. That's what the exhaust is. Now, that's also exhaust, and holy shit. Like, do you really want, and that must have been coating the weed, because years later I had community service and was doing Caltrans, and somehow some leaf on some brushy bush my eye, and within an hour my eye was swollen shut. And when I went to the state, Caltrans took me to the doctor because it happened while I was working with them. The doctor explained that there's so much contaminants coated on everything alongside the freeway from all the exhaust, right? That it's toxic, and some of that got in my eye and it did that. And I was like, holy shit. But it was because this wasn't even before I thought of CO2 enrichment. That wasn't even a thing. Maybe some people knew about it, but we sure did. Because that was the thing. Growers didn't communicate. That came years later.
No.
So I don't know how we used to learn things, or we had a few other friends, but they didn't know anything more than we knew. and it was like the dark ages of indoor growing. It really was. Like I look back at that time, wasn't it like a kind of market where if it was green, you could sell it. Like it was crazy. Like there was such a crazy demand for any kind of weed that even if you grew some fucked up hay, it was like sold
Yeah,
dry.
exactly. It seemed like when the Dead stopped playing, and then at least for me in the Midwest, we had the jam band scene kick in. And this was the beginning of festivals too. And we would find out because in the beginning there were, just a couple festivals. And then by 97, 98, there was like one every weekend to go to. And you would be going to these festivals and you'd see certain people, and those were the people that you talked to, you know, and you would only meet like 2, 3 times a year to sit down and as a group of 4, 5, or 6 growers and talk about your year growing, your past year.
See, my timing was different. Like 89, beginning of 90, I decided that I was only going to go to Dead shows locally, like Cali, Colorado, Oregon, now more toward the East Coast and everywhere else. And then I had already worked for growers, but I wasn't stable enough because, yeah, there was a tour every, cycle, 60 days. No way. I would like, that wasn't feasible. But then at that point, I stabilized. I was already like 27, I guess. Yeah. And that's when we start growing. And then we just go to shows like we were like weekenders. We'd just go like this part of the tour because we had plants to water. We had like, we were like, we used to have a thing amongst my partners. That's why we had like when I finally got past having partners was when I didn't like I went to less shows because like we used to do a thing where one of us could do the whole tour because the other guy was going to cover, but then the next tour be your turn to cover because it was just a way to be on tour.
That's fair.
That was like the whole thing. Like music is still number one to me, and cannabis is a way to experience a lot of music.
Get there. That's how I used it too. Cannabis was a way to take me to all this different music. You could show up at some show without a ticket, but a pocket full of bud. And next thing you know, you were in the show.
Yeah, pretty much.
I knew a lot of people. Oh, wow, you got some good pot. Hey, I got an extra ticket. Oh, don't pay me. Just smoke a couple joints with me during the show.
Well, plus, like any of these type of things, I would have to like really think back, but it was like today, I think like back then, $100 was like $1,000 today, or at
Yeah.
least like 500, 600. It's like as far as like traveling somewhere, getting food, and whatever. Like where today to do like 3, 4 days somewhere, it's like, oh well, it's 200 a night in a hotel plus this, it's crazy.
Where 20 years ago, 4 nights in a hotel was $120, but now your cheapest hotel, 4 nights in one of your cheaper hotels is 250, $300.
dude. I remember
which
I would
is undoable.
how bad the hotel was. As long as there was a room and I could fucking sleep. Now I'm older and I've like spoiled myself. Oh
No.
no, like certain standards. It's like fuck.
Here, I look for certain standards.
Actually, most of those developed with my wife because she had standards. That was for sure.
I found out here in Thailand that, you know, a $4 to $6 difference in the cost of a room is literally going from a Motel 6 to the fucking Hilton.
I had to hop back on just to say that no, D, it's not a schnozberry in his nose, or it's not a Oompa Loompa in his nose, it's a schnozberry.
Schnozberry.
There it
Yeah,
is.
because you can't get an Oompa Loompa in the nose, but the Oompa Loompa is too big.
But it's a schnozberry because it's a schnoz, you know?
Nice. Nice one, hardcore.
Well, I didn't know you left. I sort of did because you hadn't said anything in a while. But I thought that was because I was talking too much.
No, my battery died on me, and I was just plugged back in, and I was just listening for a bit there. But I just realized that you can.
I got to be honest. Like for me to be doing this defoliation, like not that I'm beyond it, but like for a lot of years, I didn't do this type of stuff myself. But in the current world, we do. My partner comes back from Germany after 3 months on the 12th. So then I'll have some more help. But it's been my turn. And I was hernia for 5 months of this year. So now I'm like back to like having to pull my share, which without being on the show, I would have burned out, probably only had done one tray and went home. But I'm on my second tray. And it's like, if you don't do this now, yeah, it needed to be done a couple days ago, actually. But it's at that stage where they need to be cleaned up. And being on the show, I'm still going. I'm a procrastinator, so I would have talked my way at home. I would have said, "Oh fuck, I'm out of here." I don't know about the rest of y'all, but
I do that sometimes.
sometimes I get into it and I'll work my ass off, but other times I know how to procrastinate too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm almost on this joint.
Like, it's the joint.
Well, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children over 21 and over, it's time to call it the end of the show. Until Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I need both hands. It was great hanging, everyone. See you Tuesday. Have a good weekend.
You too, bud. Thanks for coming and hanging out.
Always fun.
Yeah, man.
Later, everybody.
Later, bud.
Later, hardcore. Have a great. Thanks for coming and hanging out.
Peace.
Christoph?
Okay, thank you very much for the show, D. Voilà quoi. Green, Cap, Jeff, bye bye. Good weekend, my friends. Et à bientôt, hein. See you soon. Hein. Bye bye le chat.
Thanks.
À bientôt.
Au revoir.
Big
Bye bye.
force.
Big force la team. Bye bye. Thank you. À bientôt. See you soon.
Oh. by the way, everybody can everybody go check out Christoph on his YouTube channel at Christoph CO or Christoph as it's spelled 54 CO on Instagram or on YouTube. He does his live shows. Cap.
I have to ask him why it's 54 one day. All right.
Now,
Maybe,
D, thanks for sticking around, keeping us on here.
Yeah,
Thank
buddy.
you, Fumador, for another great morning. Robert, great seeing you as always. Jeff, great hearing you.
Yeah, thanks. You too.
Everybody out in chat, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for coming around. Everyone have a good and safe rest of your weekend. Peace.
There, Cap.
Peace, Cap.
Jeff.
All right. Hey, thanks, D. It was a good night, and talk to you. Yeah, it'll be Tuesday, I guess. See you
Right
later.
on,
Green
right on.
finger. Green finger's always good. Thanks.
Peace
See
out.
you next time. Have a good night.
Later. Thanks for hanging out, Jeff.
Have a good night. All right, everybody.
Green fingers.
D, thanks for having us.
Yeah, buddy.
If you're watching, have a good night. All right, everybody. Go plant some seeds, man. Peace.
Later. Green fingers. And speaking of seeds, if I oh, there we go. Share the screen. Maybe. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to. Uh-oh. What Shaggy? What was that about? There we go. I guess that's better. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to go check out Fumadoro, Shrooms of Gold, and all that good stuff to get yourself some awesome seeds. My favorites right now are the Lime River Rose, and also any of the Morganas are my favorites. That's what I've grown, and I've smoked the Lime River Rose. And I believe I grew it too, and it was good. It was amazing. Well, it was amazing. I know people sent me some stuff to try out a few weeks, and it was really good. And I grew it last season. So be sure to go check out fumadoro.com and get yourself some awesome genetics. Also, go check out the merch page. Fumadoro's merch theory is right there. The man himself, Mr. Fumadoro. We're rocking with the gaffer tape shirt. There's lots of different shirts to choose from, lots of styles, lots of different colors. There's green, there's blue, there's black, there's orange, there's camel green. That's my favorite color. There's also this color here. Of course, like always, I call it Fire Engine Red. Get yourself some awesome merch. And I'll show you what I wear right now. I wear this shirt right now in the camel color, the Lime River Rose shirt. And look at the price, ladies and gents. Only $18.10. Like, how many times have you seen different different seed companies or products for nutrients or other $50, $60, $70 sometimes for a frickin' t-shirt, which is way too expensive. Fumador has them as a great price. See, there's that blue. There's another blue, different colors. He's got mugs. He's got shirts. He's got lady shirts. Cotton, they're all cotton. So be sure to check it out. And I'm just going to scroll right down. He's got the muscle shirt available, different ones of that. But right there, the hygiene safety meeting, the hoodie, it's only how much? Well, I have to go back. But it says check that out right there. Ah, brains. And speaking of brains, use the coupon code BRAINS. BRAINZ. And that works only for the seeds. It will not work for the merchandise or Gauge Green Genetics. Whoa, a little too close for me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show for the night. Don't forget to tune in Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, just like tonight and every other night. We broadcast Tuesday, Wednesdays, and of course Saturdays. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for everybody in the panels for hanging out tonight and coming to hang out. That's awesome. And big thanks as always to Humidor for putting this stuff on. Believe me, folks, it's not cheap to run one of these shows sometimes. So thank you very much to Shumi for putting these on like always. And thank you to all you people in the chat for watching. And the people that are in the background, all you lurkers, doing some work, smoking a joint, doing something fun. Thanks for coming and hanging out and listening to us for the last couple hours. We'll be back, like I said earlier, on Tuesday, 10 o'clock Pacific, Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Pacific. Until then, let's see who's in chat one last time. Christoph, Big Force, Christoph, Mon Ami, J5, Mr. Green Fingers, Pip. Thanks for coming and hanging out, Pip Jam, Salt and Sea Seeds. Who else is in here? Captain 420. So we can see you, Cap. Crazy people doing stuff. Martial artists. Southern VT, or aka Southern Vermont Vintage. Still gotta get used to your name. Hardcore. Thanks for popping in there for the last couple of minutes there with the well, yeah. Ned Kelly. Who else is here? Let's just take a quick pan up more. I think I might have got everybody. If not, L Telescope Uranus, Ganja Lion, Operation Annihilation, OG Ted, Mystic Citizen, John Arhina. Hope I said your name right, John. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for coming out. KNC, Narfi, everybody in the chat. Big thanks. Cheers to you, everybody. And Milanga Catulo. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you Tuesday. Until next time, remember, if your women don't find you handsome, at least they find you handy. Keep your stick on the ice and take off, eh? Hosers, take off. Hoser.